We often hear about endangered species. I have come to Marwell Wildlife to find out more. So Claire, can you tell me why animals are getting more endangered?
Okay, there's lots of reasons why wildlife becomes endangered. One of the main reasons is obviously that people and wildlife have to share living space, and quite often when there's competition between people and wildlife, it's wildlife that loses out. So loss of habitat is one of the biggest problems for wildlife, as well as things like overexploitation when people hunt wildlife, and climate change is another big problem for wildlife. When obviously with global warming issues, that leads to climate change, which can then affect habitats, which can then affect wildlife. And we don't really know just what sort of size of problem that's going to be, but it's certainly a problem brewing up for the future for wildlife.
So how can Marwell help the conservation of animals?
Okay, so there's lots of ways that we can help in the conservation of wildlife. We can breed groups of endangered species here, along with lots of other conservation-oriented zoos, maintain populations, especially where they are extinct in the wild. We can also help people who live alongside wildlife in places perhaps like Africa, help them to find solutions to problems, and also find out about just how endangered the animals are in the first place as well by doing survey work. Helping people understand more about wildlife, so people in this country as well, because there's a lot that we can do sometimes in the conservation of wildlife. So again, education through schools programs and education for our general visitors as well.
So how as us individuals can we help the wildlife?
Well, there's lots of things that just individual people can do, because species aren't just endangered perhaps in places like Africa. We've got species here in this country which are threatened. Things like just our native birds, things like sparrows and starlings, their numbers are going down. So by things like by feeding them and putting up nest boxes, but also perhaps in our schools and in our local areas. So making ourselves informed and then finding what we can do to help.
So what else can Marwell do for the conservations?
Well, we have a management plan for our woodlands, because Marwell's surrounded by lots of woodland around here, and we can try and increase the biodiversity, so the amount of wildlife in the woodlands, just by the way we manage it, where we let the trees go bigger and stronger and where we cut them down perhaps to open up areas for other types of wildlife.
I didn't know the conservation was such a wide topic. I thank Claire for all her time and experience. Back to the studio.